Number 6A. Number 1, Lily Johnson, you have
3/4.
I have 1/6. In fact, I'm on the right one. Am I on the right one?
Yes.
1/6. 2, Garrett.
$4.80.
$4.80. Number 3, CJ.
$1.59.
$1.59. Number 4, Lilia.
$4.11.
I have 4 to 1, or 4 over 1. Number 5, Johnny Lick.
$2.56.
$2.56. Number 6, Mr. John Daffenberg.
$480.
$480. Number 7, Brady.
$80.
$80. $80. Number 8, Anna.
17.
I have 30 feet for number 8. Number 9, Sydney. I'm sorry? D. And Sydney and Ella. Once again, this should have been done on a different piece of paper. I guess we haven't done these enough times to know, but next time we do pre-test, it's always done on paper paper, just because I don't like it when you don't have squares and you don't try to squeeze stuff in there. Right? Good. Where are we at? I'm sorry. Number 10. 10, Trev.
6 units squared.
6 units squared. 6 units squared. It's like I find it hard to believe how you could do this without using a grid. Number 11, Carolina.
4.
Should be 2/5 as a fraction and 0.4. 0.4 and 2/5. Number 12, Brody.
0.8, 3 repeater sign.
Yeah, 0.8 repeater sign over just the 3. You only need 1 3. Because the 3 keeps repeating. 13, Jonah Winkleman.
9.3 times 10 to the 6th power.
Should be 9.3 times 10 to the 7th power. 7th power. Ella, number 14.
C.
C is correct. 14 is C. 15, Sophia.
20.
I'm sorry, what?
20.
I have 9. 15 is being 9. 16 should be 10. 16 should be 10. 17 should be 7/12. 17 is 7/12. 18 is 26. 18 is 26. 19 is 0. And number 20 is x squared. 20 is x squared. Jonah Winkler.
What was number 5?
5 was $2.56. Trevor.
What was 6?
6, $480. Anna Baumgartner.
How do you do number 1?
How do I do number 1? Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, as I tell all 7th grade classes, it's strongly encouraged that you jot yourself down some notes on a piece of note paper. Strongly recommended that you just grab a homework piece of paper and then it is already divided into those squares that you would need, and then for square number 1, for problem number 1, they would coincide, and then you could say, hey, please remember to do this, don't forget to do that, yada, yada, yada. I am here for you. I try to get you to help yourself. As a matter of fact, you know these should be the easiest tests in history because you know exactly, almost to the number, but not really to the number. I could do nothing more than give you this. And you would also, for the test tomorrow, make sure you have this bad boy, because you should be able to use it and you can use it. And obviously some of the answers are right there on that little decimal sheet there. Number 1, boys and girls, was the question on the proverbial table. And here is the deal for number 1. I would probably, if I were a 7th grader, first of all, a minute hand of the clock turns 6 degrees per minute. So if you have a clock, and we know clocks, you know, there's the 12 up here, and then the 1 here, and then the 2 there, and the 3, we'll just do that. That'll get us probably where we need to go. For every minute In other words, if your hand starts here and it goes between 12 and 1, there are 5 minutes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every minute, that is 6 degrees. Right? Who asked me this one? Hannah? All right. 6 degrees for every minute, but it didn't go just 1 minute, it went 10 minutes, which would mean it start here and go to the 2, because that's 10 minutes. If every minute is 6 degrees and you went 10 of those minutes, how many degrees would you have traveled? Let me rephrase that. Every 1 minute, this was 6 degrees, then another 6 degrees, then another 6 degrees, another 6 degrees. So you did that 10 times. How many degrees is that total? Say it, you got it. Yep, 10 sixes is 60. Between here and here is 60 degrees. Now that's not the answer to the question, because the question says that 60 degrees is what fraction of a full turn? 60 degrees is what fraction of a full turn? There's your fraction, it just needs to be reduced. Divide them both by 10, divide them by 6, you get 1/6. When the hand travels from 12 to 2, that's 1/6 of the whole dial there, of the whole face of the clock. CJ?
Can you do 19?
Most likely. At some point in my life, I think I've done all of these. Number 19, ladies and gentlemen. How many people got 19 wrong? Oh, a couple of you out there in mathematical land. First of all, you have to follow order of operations, yes? And the order of operations, which is on the wall, so you really don't need to play it out there, is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Are there any parentheses? There are not, so we can get rid of that. Exponents, and this would be a note I would jot to myself, because I'm almost assured at least 1 or 2 people make this mistake every time. The only exponent out there is 0. What is 5 to the 0 power? Trev?
1.
1. So if you put 5 down, or you put 0 down, or whatever you are wrong, anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is where I'm standing right now. Then after exponents, I do multiplication and division from left to right. There's only one multiplication part, that's right there. 3 times 2 is 6. So now I'm left with 1 plus 4 minus 6 plus 1. No division. And then addition, subtraction. But you must remember, you have addition, you have subtraction, you have addition. They're all on the same level. When you come up with all on the same level, you have to go from left to right. So I have to go this way. I have to go 1 plus 4 is 5. If I have 5 and take away 6, I have a negative 1. And a negative 1 plus 1 is a 0. Shall we do 20 while I'm there? Just say yes, because I'm sure something.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, problem number 20, it would probably be best if there's a couple different ways to think about it, but it would probably be best if you thought of it this way. On top, I have x to the third times x to the fourth. Well, x to the third is this. X to the fourth is 4 x's times themselves. On the bottom, you have x to the fifth. That's 5 x's times themselves. Well, when we do fractions like that, we have something in factors. If you have identical factors on top as on bottom, they cross off. So this x crosses off with that x. This crosses off with that. This one with this one, this one with this one, this one with this one, 1 for 1. You are left with 2 x's, which is x squared. Now, if the x squared, if the 2 x's would have been left on bottom, it would not be x squared, it would be 1 over x squared. Because you have to always have something on top. You don't need things on bottom because of whatever it is. Okay? Now, the other way you could have thought about it was like this. X to the third times x to the fourth is x to the seventh, because you add exponents when you multiply bases together. If you have x to the seventh over x to the fifth, when you divide bases that have exponents together, you subtract them. So 7 minus 5 is 2. But this is probably for you your best bet. Just saying. Any other questions? Grade weight.
How do you do number 2?
El número dos. How do I do? Everybody knows what I'm going to say here. Tax and tip is always John. Okay. I'm just going to multiply this. 20% of $24. 20% times $24. Now the gist with that is we don't deal with percents when we do operations. We have to make them either fractions or decimals. In this case, I would probably make it a decimal. 20% is what decimal? Really?
0.2.
Right, because it's 20 hundredths, which is 2 tenths, it's just 0.2. So you're going to take 0.2 times $24. $24 times 0.2, 0.084. How many places do I need to move the decimal? Well, there's 2 here, 1, 2, and there's 1 there, for a grand total of 3. 1, 2, 3. So $4.80 is my tip on a $24 meal. Almost $5. Brody.
Can you do number 4 on the board?
Problem number 4, notice it doesn't ask you, this is not a ratio box problem because it's not asking you to find out how many trucks there are or how many cars there are. They just want you to give the ratio of cars to trucks, which means you just take this and make a fraction. How many cars do you have over how many trucks do you have? And they tell you both of those things. I have 96 cars over 24 trucks. This is the ratio that they want. I don't know why I put 45, by the way. This is the ratio they want. You just need to reduce it. 96 over 24. I suppose you can cut them both in half and get 48 over 12. Cut them both in half again, get 24 over 6. 6 goes into both of them, you get 4 over 1. And remember with ratios, you have to leave them as improper as long as they are reduced all the way. There are 4 cars for every single truck. That's what that thing says there. This is your ratio. Not a ratio story problem. They didn't ask you how many trucks or cars you have, but they just asked you to make a ratio out of that. Sydney.
Can I do 11?
Number 11. %, as a decimal and as a fraction. Well, 40%. What does percent mean? I'd probably do it as a fraction first. What's percent mean? Out of what? So there is your fraction. It's 40 out of 100. But you have to reduce it. Divide them both by 10. You end up with 4/10. Cut those both in half. You get 2/5 for your fraction. How do I make that a decimal? How do you change percents to decimals? It's almost the easiest thing in history. CJ?
You take the top number and then you put it inside and divide it.
Well, you could divide it out, but if you already know the percent, there's no division needed because all you need to do is take the decimal and move it back 2 places. Your answer is 0.4, which was the 4/10 that I had as this fraction. You just start here, come back. 63% as a decimal is 0.63. You just move the decimal back 2 places. 5% as a decimal, if you move it back 2 places, is 0.05. It's not 0.5 because that's 50%. 0.05. Does that help? That's it? Trev?
For number 2, did you have done $24 without the 2 zeros
Yes.
times?
Yep, you didn't have to have the decimal there, you'd still get the same thing.
Yes.
Matter of fact, if that's better for you, then do it, I just want to keep it there. Right?
What's number 8?
The answer to 8 was 30 feet. Would you like that one done, sir?
Yes, sir.
That's what I like to hear. Number 8. I'm surprised nobody asked me about number 6.
I looked in the book.
The perimeter of the triangle, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, which means you have to add the distance around. This is 12. This is 5. I need to figure out what this is, but it doesn't give me that. Do I just quit? Do I hang my head and say I can't do this problem?
No.
No, I need to find what that line is. Fortunately for me, Braden, it is a right triangle, and anytime you think of sides and right triangles, you should think,
Area.
no, not looking for the area, we're looking for perimeter. Anytime you have a right triangle and you're talking about its sides, you should think, Sophia, the Pythagorean theorem. Is there one of these triangles up there that is a 5, 12 something? 5, 12, 13. This side has to be 13. And then it's just adding 5 plus 12 plus 13 together. And you get, they did not ask you for area, which is another one I would have thought somebody would have asked me about, the one where they did ask you for area. That one to me is maybe one of the harder problems on your Sophia Keeler. I would love to do 6. 6 is my favorite problem in the entire test. Number 6, boys and girls and children of all ages, says a tile installer charges $12 a square foot to install the floor tile. What is the cost? We're looking for money here to install the tile on a room that's like this. So I take what I know. I know that I have to find the area, because that's square feet. I have to find the area of this, and for every square foot, how much am I paying? $12. So whatever I find for the area, I have to multiply by $12, because that's how much it is per square foot. So how do I find the area of this shape? I don't have a formula that finds the area of this odd-looking shape, so I have to do the old divide and conquer. How am I going to divide this shape into 2 shapes that I can find the area of? Sophia, would you go across or up and down? All right, that's fine. Doesn't matter which one you pick. But I will cut this into 2 rectangles. Rectangle number 1, area is length times width. 6 times 4 is 24. That's my area of this one. We should go Illinois colors. Let's go blue. Now this one here, you have to be a little careful with. To find the area of this, it is length times width, which is this times this, but it is not 8. 8 is this line that goes all the way across. That's not what I want. I'm stopping right here. How do I know how long this line is, which is the same as how long that line is? Lily Johnson, how do I know?
Cut 8 in half.
Nope, somebody said that in the other hand. Now in this case it does, that's the same thing, but that's not how you find it out. I can't just pick lines and start cutting them in half. I need to figure out how long this part is from here to here. How far is it from there to there? It's 4, and 4 plus what number is 8? And again, in this case it is cut in half, but you can't just randomly say that unless you can prove it. In this case it happens to be half, but it wouldn't have to be. I mean, 4 times 4 is 16. I should go back to my Illinois colors. Wait, where's my Illinois colors? Where's orange? Orange. So this is 16, this is 24. I add them together because it's the 2 areas added together, and that is 40. It's not my answer, because remember at the beginning I said I have to take my area, which is 40, and multiply that by $12, and that's where $480 comes from. Happy days are here again.
Yes. Totally.
Hannah Baumgartner.
Can you do number 3?
I hope so. Number 3. Postage cost 39 cents for the first ounce and 24 cents for the additional ounce. What is the cost of a 6-ounce stamp? No easy way to do this other than to think about this. What's it say? 39 cents for the first ounce. So my first ounce is 39 cents. Well, if I'm buying a 6-ounce envelope, I've already paid for the first ounce with 39 cents. How many more ounces do I have left to pay for? My first ounce cost 39 cents. If I bought 1 ounce and the whole thing is 6 ounces, how many more ounces do I have left? I paid for 1 ounce. It's a total of 6 ounces. How many more ounces are there? 5. So you have 5 more ounces, and they cost 24 cents each. So you have to take this and multiply it out to see how much your 5 ounces cost, which is $1.20. And then you have the 39 cents that you had to pay for the first ounce. So $1.59. How much you are paying. That actually is probably true. And it probably was true back when this book was made. Now how much is an ounce? I think it's 50 cents. Has anybody ever seen an envelope? Has anybody ever had to put a stamp on an envelope? I didn't think so.
I've got one.
Envelopes are kind of obsolete. We don't use the U.S. Postal
My
Service.
grandparents used to.
Carolina.
How do you do number 15?
15. This would be a lot like that one problem we did at the end, number 20 or 19 or whatever it was. You have, Carolina, 4 tens times themselves, and then 2 that you are multiplying another 5 tens times themselves. How many tens are you multiplying together in the end? Carolina. I multiplied 4 tens and then I multiplied another 5 tens. How many total tens did I multiply together? And that's what the exponent is, 9. So it's 9 total tens. The rule was if you multiply like bases together, you add their exponents together. 4 plus 5 is 9, because that's how many total tens you are multiplying together. Anybody on 16 while I'm there? Sure. I like that. This one gets a little tougher, but it's not that bad. You should not have to do any work at all on this. You should do it like this. Remember we said cross off the stuff that has the letter first and figure out what does this have to be. What number divided by 3 would give you 4? Lily? 12. So the top has to be 12. Well, the top isn't 12. I mean, it will be 12, but we have to do this to uncover what we got here. If I know that this top has to be 12, what number added to 2 would give you the 12 that you need? What number plus 2 gives you 12, Braden? 10. I mean, there's no, that's what inspection is. You just look at it. I cover up this and I say, okay, what divided by 3 is 4? That's 12. Top has to be 12, so what number plus 2 gives me 12? And that's where 10 is. Fun to make some. John.
What was the answer for 13?
13 was 9.3 times 10 to the 7th. And I'm surprised nobody asked about that one. Very surprised nobody has asked about that one. Nobody on that one? Trevor.
Yeah, you're gonna do
Sure. Cindy, question?
that one.
Number 5, boys and girls. Number 5. We didn't do that already. This one is also, what is the total price of 3.2 pounds of apple at 80 cents per pound? What type of problem is this, ma'am? Just a moment. Did you multiply it? Alright, so it is 3.2 pounds times 80 cents per pound. You gotta remember though, your answer is gonna be in cents and it's gonna need to be changed in dollars. So you bring down the 0, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24. How many decimal places is there? Just 1. So it is 246 cents, but I never go to the store. The person at the store does not ask me for 246 cents. They will say, I need how much money? Put the decimal point right here, $2.46. That's what 246 cents would be. There's a couple other ways we can do that, but that's probably, you could have put a decimal point there and called it 80 cents. And the answer would have been right.
How did you do number 13?
Wait, was that the one we just talked about? Was that the? Yes. Everybody, take out. Do we do notes under scientific notation?
Yes.
Oh, so you already have them? Did I give them to you, or did somebody else give them?
They go on the
They wrote on the board and then said it.
So you wrote them down.
No.
If you are changing this into scientific notation, step number 1 is you have to make the number between 1 and 10. Which means this, the decimal starts here. I need to move it so that it is between 1 and 10, which puts it right there. 9.3. Step number 2 is we always write down times 10 because that's scientific notation. And then step number 3 is I have to find what exponent of 10 I'm using. And that exponent is how many places, when I originally moved that decimal over there, how many places did I move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's my exponent of 10. 9.3 times 10 to the 7. Sid?
Can we do 17?
That's a good chance. If you missed problem 17, there's a good chance that you did not follow order of operations. For some reason, when we see fractions, we forget all about the order we're supposed to do things. In problem number 17, the first thing you should do is multiply 1/3 times 1/4. Did you? Good. And what did you get when you multiplied those two together? 1/3 times 1/4 is? No, that's only division. That's only dividing by fractions. This is simply multiplying across. You get 1/12. And then once you have 1/12, you add 1/2 plus 1/12. Common denominator is 12. This times 1, this times 1, this times 6, this times 6. 6 twelfths and 1/12 is 7 twelfths. No. And that's why you should look in your notes. I guarantee you, if you looked under fractions and multiplication, you would not have switched anything around. That's only with division. And that would be the notes I would leave to myself. We're seeing some sort of a light at the end of the tunnel. Again, I find it hard to believe nobody asked me about the little triangle we had to draw that you found area for. Jonah Winkman?
What was number 5?
Number 5 was $2.56. Is that not what I got?
246.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong?
You had to add the 1.
The who?
You had to add the 1.
Oh,
That wouldn't be the first mistake, it'd be the second mistake I made today. Wait, I forgot to add what one?
Well,
When
you're-
you do 8 times.
Oh, 25, sure. Yeah, 8 times that is 16 plus 1 is 25, sorry.
It's okay.
That's strike number 2. If you guys can get one more on me, I will be out.
One, then nothing.
Come on, John, give me one. What? Trev!
What was 6?
6 was $480. I got that one right. CJ!
Can you do 8? The triangle one?
Thank you, because I know many of you did not get this right. All right, I already did 8.
You said you wanted to do 8, so I just said.
Sometimes 10.
Yeah, close.
You got it right.
I got it right, but
I didn't want to do 8.
you said you wanted to do the triangle.
That wasn't that one. That was the one that was the
Oh,
coordinate system.
You want to do number
Oh,
10?
that one.
Oh,
Can you do
Brody!
Can you do number 10 on the board?
I don't know if that's number 10 is the one either that I was talking about.
Yeah, 10 is the coordinate one.
No, that's not. Oh, wait, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's on the other page again.
What? No, isn't it? It's on the map.
Am I on the wrong
it's
one?
on the back.
It's
Did I go
on
to
the
the
back.
wrong one?
It's just at the very, very top.
Oh, there it is. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, maybe this would be a good one to wrap up on. First of all, you should have a coordinate system. I can probably do it without just because I'm that good, but you don't want to do this. The coordinates were -1, which puts it right here. 3, -1, 1, 2, 3, -1, and 2, 2. So your triangle looks like this. And it asks you for the area of a triangle, which meant you wrote down the formula for the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. And here is where the train runs off the tracks. In order to find the area of a triangle, you have to have 2 lines that form right angles. And there are no 2 lines, as it is right now, that form right angles. But fortunately for you, when you have a coordinate system, all of these lines that go up and down, those all do form right angles. So what you need to do in this case, even though it doesn't give it to you, you can certainly do this. From this point right here, draw your nice little dashed line going straight down. What color would show up there? Just make that a really big one. Doink, 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 doink. And that does form a right angle. So you take the 2 lines that form the right angle, which would be this line. From here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4. The height starts here and goes 1, 2, 3. So it is 1/2 of 3 times 4. 4/2 of 12, which is 6 units squared. Again, I find that you, being less skilled than your teacher,
I think it may have been 1/3 parentheses 4 and then 3
I don't know what you're saying.
because area equals 1/2 base times height and 3 was the base.
Oh, well, if you look in there, actually, I said it doesn't matter which ones they are because they're the 2 that form the triangle.
Just trying to get the 30.
I know.
Well, I mean,
Good try
I
on
thought
that
it was
one.
the-
I'll admit defeat when it is in fact true, but that one